Do-do-do-do, it's Chemdork.
Hello everyone, this is Chemdork, and welcome to Season 3, Episode 4 of my Buildcraft, where we play Minecraft with the mods Buildcraft, Railcraft, and Forestry. Well, the base is actually starting to look like a base, I would say. Pretty cool, right? So I did some modifications since last episode, and I'll go over some of those, but I'm going to spend most of this episode, we're going to be working with right here, this stuff, kind of the liquid stuff in the base, and we're going to be starting to build some power, because I want to have the power to start on some things Railcraft and actually get a rail system going here. But in order to do that, I need it to actually function to do something. So we might work a little bit over here, but we're going to be primarily moving around liquids and doing some refining of liquids and all that good stuff. So Railcraft and Buildcraft stuff mostly. But here you go. I did put in these 3 water tanks to supplement our water, even though the water, I'm not really sure what this water is for, quite honestly, at this point. I might use it for farms, I might use it for just some supplemental water. I don't know if it's going to be enough water to cool engines in Buildcraft, but we'll see. But anyway, here's the base as it is now. It's coming along pretty nicely, I'd like to say. There is a map now. Hooray! It's I need it to be bigger, but thus far it's pretty cool. You see the mesa really clearly here. It's kind of a nice color. And then the rest of it's just the sort of standard green. None of the biomes really change different colors. You can see where the forest is just by all the trees, but you can't really see the difference between the savanna over here and the plains over here. So, yeah. But there you go. That's the world. And here's the big hole. So unlike last season, where we actually dug a hole, but we did nothing with it, really, this season there are plans for this space, and I will actually execute them. Last season, the problem was I really didn't have any plans for that space. It wasn't very specific, the purpose of the hole. Just to kind of be an awesome big hole was pretty much the purpose. But in this season, I want to actually build some stuff inside this hole, and I have an idea about what we're going to be doing. We're not going to be doing a whole lot this episode, although we are going to be starting on things. So I have a stairwell down here and a start of a stairwell down here so I can get rid of this big old hole in the middle of my doorway. But you'll notice that I can't go down these stairs because something is in the way. These coke ovens are in the way. They have a bunch of creosote oil in them, and so I can't just move them. I have to move the oil first. Now, there are some rules with multi-block structures and Railcraft and how you can actually maintain the liquids inside them. But we're going to explore those in just a little bit. We're going to do a little bit of science. But before we do that, we're just going to say that we're also going to be moving some other liquids, namely this oil. And there's 246 buckets of oil plus 130 millibuckets. It should be a whole number because this is all dry. This geyser in front of our base is completely dry now, and the contents of that geyser are inside this tank. So it's a lot of buckets of oil. The reason for the millibuckets is because that we have those extra millibuckets there is because I probably broke a pipe or two in the process that contained oil, so that's why it's not a whole number. Otherwise, it should be a whole number. And then here's the the water tank, and it's just the same capacity. It's 720 buckets. We're probably going to make bigger tanks and move things along. So I will start on that process. I have some tanks ready to go here. And I'll be right back, and we'll start the pumping and removing of things to their new locations. Okay, see you in a second. Before we continue on to move our liquids, let's learn a bit about these Railcraft multi-block tanks and see just how we can actually move them, and in some cases expand them, and in some cases contract them, but kind of the rules of the road for these multi-block tanks. So here's the multi-block tanks. They come in various dimensions, and I have a few of these built here, just the short ones, but basically the heights can be either 4 blocks, which is what you see here, 5, 6, 7, or 8, and the diameters are 3, 5, 7, and 9. And notice that the diameters come 3, 5, 7 I didn't build, but then here's the 9 one. So notice those diameters are in odd numbers, meaning that there is always a center block indicated by the valve right here. The valve does not have to be in the center. In fact, you don't have to have valves on these things at all, but the valve is just here to sort of represent where the center of each of these remains. And that becomes important when you're doing things like saying, actually, as it turns out, say, for example, you wanted to take this 3 by 4 multi-block tank holding ethanol, and in this case there are 60 buckets of ethanol inside this thing, and you want it to move it. Well, first of all, say a creeper comes and he explodes the thing. Well, now you're screwed because now you say, well, crap, I lost all that ethanol. I am totally screwed. Well, as it turns out, as long as the creeper didn't destroy this anchor block right here, you should be perfectly fine. And in fact, if we rebuild it, we see we can actually just get back that same tank. Now, what happens if we do destroy that middle block and then put it back? You can make it anything you want. And now we see it went away. So the middle block is really the key here. So if we fill it up again, give it some ethanol, now it's got 11 blocks in it. We destroy a block, we put back a block. We see it still has 11 blocks of ethanol right there, okay? Doesn't matter which one we destroy, as long as you don't destroy that one right there, because that is the key one, because once you do, now everything is gone. Now there's other rules requiring here, so as you see, it's not just any interior block. I can just delete this one, I get it back. If I delete that one, I should still get it back, but if I delete that one, and then rebuild, I'll even rebuild with the same type of blocks here, you don't get the stuff back. So you cannot destroy, lesson number 1, you cannot destroy that middle block on the bottom. That is the anchor block for the whole thing. The second thing to note is that you can expand these guys. So let's, I guess we'll just stick with ethanol, why not? So I'll just go ahead and fill up a bunch of ethanol in here. And now we have 18 buckets of ethanol, and say I know I'm going to need more and I want to expand this. Let's make this one. Basically, let's turn this into that. Let's expand it by a little bit. Or even better, let's take this one right here and let's contract it. I'm going to actually use water because it's a little easier to see it. So let's go, whoop. Darn it. Let's fill this up with a little bit of water. So there we go. It's got 12 buckets of water in there now. Let's contract this. This is too big. So let's go ahead and contract this thing right here. So let's make sure we don't destroy that middle one, and we should be fine, right? So let's go ahead and make it right here. Here, I'll get rid of a lot of this stuff right here. And in fact, let's make it so that it is, we already have a wall over here, or actually we already have this corner wall right here, so we just won't destroy that anchor right in the middle. And there we go. That should actually make the tank. We gotta get rid of these guys. We gotta get rid of all this stuff. And then we gotta get rid of this stuff, because you can't have any tank blocks touching that are not part of that tank. And I think we are good. I think this should make it, right? Oh, wait, you cannot have the valves in the corner. They don't like to have valves in the corner. Okay, now it's a tank, but our liquid is gone. And why is that? Well, we didn't destroy the anchor block. It's just that the anchor block is no longer in the middle of the thing. So the second rule is that the anchor block always needs to be in the middle. And if you always respect this, you can maintain your liquids and move your tanks around, but actually, as you see, you really can't move the tanks around. You can make them taller, you can make them wider, and you can make them skinnier, and you can make them shorter, but you cannot move them left, right, up, down. So there is the issue. Now, up, down is an interesting question. So you can make them taller, but can you put the bottom lower? Well, in doing so, you would have to actually destroy the bottom, so the answer is no. So those are the rules when governing multi-block tanks, and I thought that was kind of interesting to show you guys, so that now we can use those, and now let's go ahead and move our liquids in the world. Okay, let's go ahead and move our liquid. So for now, I am going to actually keep this as our oil tank right here, and that's going to be our creosote tank for now anyways. I might move it around a little later, but that's fine. So for now, we cannot move this tank to here. We have to actually pump it out, but the good thing about tanks is that you, if it's in a tank, you don't actually need, as you see, to pump. You just need to run the pipe. If it's at the bottom, gravity can do its thing, and that's no big deal. So let's see, let's just do it there, and there we go. And this should start filling up the tank right away. It is the same size tank as it is on top. So, yeah, there it is. Okay, so there it goes. Okay, it'll fill itself up, and once it's done, then I'll just get rid of the pipe, and we'll be good to go. And in the meantime, we cannot just let gravity do its thing here. It doesn't work like that. Here I need to actually pump, so I will do so. I'm going to pump over here, though, just because it's going to be a little easier to do it, I believe. I think I can pump from pretty much anywhere, but I will try. I haven't actually tried to do this. Hopefully I can actually pump it. I don't even know for sure if I can pump it. I'm pretty sure. But I'm not positive. I really hope I can, because I don't want to move these things by hand here. So let's go ahead and try to pump. Come on. There it goes. Okay, creosote oil is pumping. That's good to know. All right, so let's go ahead and run this. Run that pipe all the way from up there in where it is difficult to get to. And I'm going to run this all the way down. Oh, nope, yep, there it goes. And I'm going to run this all the way down to that tank right over there. There we go. No, not that. I think I lost some creosote. That's okay. All right, cool. So I'll go ahead and do that. We'll start to maneuver things. I'll move this guy first, and then I'll transfer it out of the other creosote oven as well once this one finishes. Okay, so see you in a bit. Here we go. We've transferred the fluids now. We've transferred creosote oil to this tank where we have just shy of 128 buckets because I destroyed a pipe containing creosote oil. And that's what happens. And once again, the oil here, we have 246 and change buckets because that's the same thing happened there. But anyways, we've transferred the tank. I just got rid of it, and and basically, well, I moved all its contents right here. And I've made this 3x4, by 5, I'm sorry, 3x5. It's decent enough for now. If we need to expand this tank, though, we can. And now we know how. We're going to have to expand it like this. So it's going to be 5 wide. And we can also build up. So there's plenty of room to expand. And by the way, there's a kind of a cool cave system underneath there. Now, you might be wondering what I'm doing with this little area that I've hollowed out right here, and that is behind my temporary storage space. And yeah, this is the temporary storage space. I'm going to get rid of this eventually. But what I'd like to have this area right here be for is for the refinery. And by refinery, I mean we're going to be turning the oil into fuel. Because remember, guys, we are in Minecraft 1.7.10 and Buildcraft version... to go along with that. I forget what it is. But in the newer versions of Buildcraft, they have changed that system entirely. So you take oil now, and the refining of oil is completely different. So we're not going to be doing that for quite some time, but I am going to be using fuel anyways during that time. After we actually upgrade, we're going to have to update this system. But for now, let's just go ahead and put together the normal refinery. And then what I'm going to do is also show you a little sneak preview of the current state of the new and revised system of refining the oil into fuel. But for now, let's go ahead and start to build the refinery as a normal Buildcraft style. So in order to build a refinery, you need to build it like this. There we go, refineries. We're gonna have 2 of them for now, just to start out, just because that's what we're gonna do. Yeah, I'm gonna put them like right here. That's fine for now. In fact, I should leave some space in front because I am going to be powering these with combustion engines, and the combustion engines are going to get their fuel. They're just going to run on oil. So that's good for now. Hold on. So I'll do it this way. I'll do there, and then we're going to put the refineries right here. And I want to be able to kind of see the refineries here, so I'm going to actually put the refineries here and here. And then let's see, there's the pipe that's going to be feeding the combustion engines their goodness. And yeah, yes, just put the combustion engines here and here. Oh, we need to make another one. Oh, yes. In fact, I need to make 2 more because we need to use them for something else. All right, so here we go, combustion engine number 2. And the third one is actually for cooling these combustion engines because don't forget, they will overheat. So I'm going to use, I think the cobblestone will be enough for now. Yeah, I think it will. And then let's not forget the tubing that goes on top of these refineries. And then there's also, of course, going to be some tubing that goes underneath. So actually, you know what? Let me reorganize this just a bit, and then I'll be right back, and it'll be lovely. Okay, see you in a second. Okay, I think I have it set now. I just have the basic structure down, but basically we're going to have a pump here. This is going to pump some water because we have to do this again. Now remember, in previous seasons we had thermal expansion, which had the aqueous accumulator to give us water to cool our engines. Well, we're going to be using these combustion engines, and we need some way to cool them down. So I want them pointed this way, so I'm going to have, because normally when you place an engine it just points up, unless it is placed next to a thing that will orient it. So this is going to actually orient it, boom, right like that. And then what's going to happen is there's going to be a line that goes right over this thing that's going to be the water line. And I think I can just get away with fluid pipe, although I'm going to actually use golden pipe because I can, and I think I should. I just should. Now there's a small issue with this, and you'll notice this in a second. Is that, uh-oh. It's actually going to connect to this pipe. This pipe right here is my oil line. It's going to go from the oil tank all the way behind and into the refineries. And then I'm going to pump out the fuel this way. It's going to go up and over and into that. Now, what am I going to do about this, though? I would love this to not connect, because this is the water line, and I want it to basically sit right here. Well, there's a way we can do that, and that is with the paintbrush. The paintbrush is a new thing. I don't know, it's something that I have not used before, but basically it allows you to paint a pipe, and it shouldn't connect, although apparently it does. It shouldn't connect if it is a cobblestone fluid pipe, so now I have blue, golden pipes. That's great. I'll have to uncolor them, but we'll do the cobblestone then. I think it'll be just fine. I think it'll be fine with cobblestone. Well, we'll just keep an eye on these guys. If it gets too hot, we'll figure it out. All right, so blue. Oh, you know what? It totally would work. Ah, darn it. No, it does. I need to color the rest of the other pipe. So hold on a second. Let's do that again. So the golden fluid pipe, let's have it colored. Now, I've only messed with this a little bit. You need to have both pipes colored. The colored pipe will stick to uncolored pipe, but it will not stick to colored pipe of a different color. So I need to color something different. I'll color it yellow. I'll color the, yeah, I'll color the, because I have yellow, I'll color the refined. There we go. That oil pipe is now yellow. And see, that's fine. We can just color that portion, and that should be enough. I'd prefer not to color the rest of it because it's, fuel is yellow, and then it'll just get mixed up. I can actually change this color later on. I might change that. I think I would prefer to do that way. But anyways, if I place the engines here, again, they won't be pointed the right direction. I need to make them connected to something that makes sense to them, and that would be one of these guys, these little kinesis pipes. And let's see, there we go, an engine at the end, and another one, and there they are. Now they're connected the proper way. Each one of these cobblestone engines, or combustion engines, will have water and fuel. The fuel is going to be just oil, it's just going to be oil powered, and otherwise it's going to be fine. Anyway, and then the water is the water. So let's use this to transport the power from them, the golden kinesis pipes. Let's throw them into the refineries. Okay, so that should be it in terms of the piping. Now it's just a matter of running redstone, and basically I'm going to have all of these turn on all at once. There's going to be a good way to do that, and I'm going to have to use old-fashioned redstone to do that. I will set up a few extra things here, and then I'll be right back, and we're gonna start to make some fuel. It's time for redstone, guys! And yeah, we're going to be wiring this thing up. Oh, just before we do, though, we do have to we do have to connect this one. I remember that I brought an iron pipe just for fun, or just for this very reason, and let's set it to go that way, so that when these are pumped out, it goes this way. By the way, just so everybody is clear, now we've done this setup before, but for anybody who's new, hasn't been using refineries before, and wants to use them in Minecraft 1.7 while they're still in play, we need to power this redstone engine, which pulls oil out. It will give oil to these combustion engines through this little yellow line we painted. This combustion engine is responsible for making the pump work, which pumps water to cool all three combustion engines. And this other line goes to these two combustion engines, which create power that is going to be used for the refineries. I probably could actually just use 3 combustion engines and have them power both the pump and the refineries, but we might optimize this a little bit later. And like I said, we're going to be redoing this anyway. It's not vital that I do a crazy efficient pump setup right here. So this should work for this should work for powering those redstone engines. And then if I have these repeaters here, they should work just fine for these guys. I will want to delay one of them just a bit so that these are not in sync. I would prefer that they are not in sync. The reasons for that are quite simple. It's I just don't want them to be. No, just kidding. The reasons for that are basically that when they're in sync, they both put out energy at the same time, and the way Buildcraft tries to mimic its engine or its energy capability is that the engines, each time they stroke, they push out a little bit of power, and so it's to our advantage that these two are out of sync, because then there's always a constant stream of power instead of every time, every few seconds, there's a big pulse of power. So I'd prefer to have it at constant power. And then actually, I should probably just do this. Why not? So have them run all at the same time, and we'll hook it up just right here. Real simple, totally simple. Redstone piece of torch there, and that right here. And then we're probably going to encase this sucker in glass, so it's not going to be a big deal. This is off, that is on, and so in this case, there we go. So, are we ready, guys? Let's go. Woohoo! Not much is going to happen because no one has any power here. But give it time. Give it time. So this oil is going to be pumped out of the tank. As you see, it is coming out of the tank eventually. Redstone engine has to warm up, but once it does, it'll come out quite nicely. And this will be a backlog because it takes a while to actually do anything with oil. Now, there is a little bit of power coming through because these guys are now finally getting just a bit of oil, just a teeny bit, and they're also getting water. So there you go. All right, so these guys will fill all the way up with oil, same with these, and then also the refineries. And actually, you do notice a little bit of fuel being made. It's just sort of pulsing right here. It's being pulled out ever so slightly, and oh, there's a little bit of fuel. Hey, look at that. Little bit of fuel, and so far it hasn't made it. Oh, wait, no, it has made its way. It's a huge waterfall, but actually it's not. It's only 5 millibuckets of fuel. It's a very slow process, but oh my goodness. Whoa, that was close. It is really dangerous having this mine here. Almost disaster. It's a real slow process making fuel, but we should be fine. Just be patient, and we'll fill up this tank in no time. All right, cool. Yeah, it's getting its way going. All right. And there you go. Yeah, these guys are going fine. They're going slow, I would say, but that's okay. We can add another combustion engine or a bunch more if we want, but that's cool. All right, this is fun looking. We'll encase this sucker in glass, and it's good to go. All right, so now in the time we have left, like I said, I wanted to kind of talk a bit about how Buildcraft is now doing processing of liquids since the most recent update. So we'll talk about that in just a bit. Join me in a creative world in a Minecraft version that is newer than this, so that we can see what's up with the newer version of refining fuel in Buildcraft. All right, guys. See you in just a second. So here we are. We are now in Minecraft 1.11.2, and this is Buildcraft version 7.99.6. It is an alpha build, so certain things are work in progress, and the appearance of these things may change, but overall I just wanted to take a few minutes to show you how the refinement process for oil is going to change in the newer versions of Buildcraft. So right now the whole purpose behind, I should say, refining oil And all that stuff that we just did, in case it wasn't clear, was to turn it into fuel because fuel is a more efficient fuel source. So oil can be burned, but so can fuel, and fuel is preferentially burned rather than oil because it gives you more total energy per bucket of fuel. And likewise, that's the same idea in the newer versions of Buildcraft. It is turning oil into more and more efficient forms of fuel, and yes, more and more because, quite honestly, there are a lot more different liquid versions of stuff you can burn. Not everything here is a liquid that you can burn, but you'll notice a few things. First of all, you'll notice there's lots of colors, so that means there's a lot more liquids. Residue, oil, gaseous stuff, which is upside down buckets, distilled stuff, heavy stuff, mixed fuels, and blah, 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 blah. All different colors and all different fun things, as well as a temperature. Each of these has a temperature either hot, cool, or searing, or cool, hot, and searing, I should say, in that order. Cool is just basically normal. Hot is a slightly hotter one, and searing is the hottest, or at least it appears to be the case. And these just differ in, well, the temperatures come into play in a little bit, and I'll talk to you about two different machines now that we're going to be using in newer versions of Buildcraft to refine the fuel. So the first is the distiller. It looks a lot like the refinery at this point. I don't know if the texture is going to change, but the purpose of a distiller is to heat up the liquid and then separate it into gas and liquid parts. So a sort of light and heavy part, presumably gas and liquid, but you can use a few different things in here. Let's just stick some oil in here and see what happens. You need to power it just like the refinery, and just like the refinery, something comes out, but in this case there are two outputs. One input that is a liquid and two outputs. One is a liquid that is a heavier liquid, and one is that it is a gas output or a lighter liquid. And we can take this even further and use this as a fuel source. So I just have this gas coming right here, and we can stick it in a combustion engine, for example. I push this button, and now we have the nice pipe. I like these pipe pulsers, by the way. And as you see, we can start to use this as gaseous fuel, cool. So it is a cool temperature. The key to note here is that we put in cool temperature things, we get out cool temperature things. Likewise, there's other different liquids we can put in here. So let's put a mixed light fuels in this one and see what the outputs are. They should be slightly different colors and slightly different types of things. So we see we have something else. I don't really know what it is, but you know what? Let's we can actually see what it is by pumping it out. I sort of wish I could see what it is, but in creative it's a little bit more difficult. But we can do it by what we just did. We should be able to burn this thing, I believe. And up here we have a little bit of gas, and the gas isn't coming out because this pipe is put the wrong way. Come on, there we go. Now it should be there. Okay, and inside here is fuel. This is just fuel, so awesome. So we actually get our normal fuel from the mixed light fuels, and presumably you can get mixed light fuels in other different ways. So you see we can sort of progress along the distillation of oil in many different stages, and it's pretty cool. And that's all I'm going to say about the distiller. It's a pretty cool way we can mess with a lot of different liquids and have a lot of different distillations going on. This over here is a heat exchanger. The function of a heat exchanger is to cool hot things and to heat cool things. And it has three different parts. There's a left part over here, which is the start. There's a middle, and then there's an end. The start, it has an area pointing down. The middle has this sort of extra little bit in the middle here. And the end has an area pointing up. And you can make this 1 to 3 length. And the difference is just it takes more stuff at a time to cool. And so basically there's two inputs. There's a fluid to be heated that you get put down the center here in this one. And it comes out, the hot fluid will come out the top here. And then there is a fluid to be cooled, and you can put any hot thing in there, including lava. There we go. And I can go over here, and this is basically a nice little animation. It takes no power, but you get a cool fluid over here and a heated fluid over here. So that's kind of how we can change temperature of fluids so that we can process them differently. And I should note that you can also use lava and water for hot and cold or heating and cooling fluids, respectively, but the water does not get heated to anything. It just disappears. It gets heated to steam and goes away. And the lava gets cooled to kind of nothing too. It just goes away as well. So those kind of serve only for the purposes of heating and cooling. They don't actually get changed to a different type of fluid. All right. So that's kind of all I will get to say about that. I'm eager to start using these things, but it will be some time before we do so. And in the meantime, we'll just deal with fuel and making it the old-fashioned way in a refinery. Works quite well, and we have lots of plans for what we're going to do to that. So anyways, I'm going to actually cut the video here, guys. So it feels good to be back and doing Buildcraft things. This episode felt like we were building something especially Buildcraftian, and that was quite fun. So in the next episode, we'll start to get work on some of the plans that I mentioned to you before, the power plant and a few other things. Okay, so see you in the next episode, guys. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.